My parents kicked me and my son out of Thanksgiving dinner because my sister didn't want to see me, saying, "You're not welcome at our family gathering." But they forgot I've been covering their bills for the last 5 years, so I cancelled, and what happened next left them speechless. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm 28, a single mom to the most incredible 8-year-old boy named Tyler, and this past Thanksgiving was the day I finally said, enough. For years, I've been the invisible daughter in my family. While my younger sister Jessica, 25, has always been the shining star, the one who could do no wrong, even when she was doing everything wrong. Jessica's the type who crashes her Honda Civic into a mailbox and somehow makes it everyone else's fault. She bounces from one toxic relationship to another, maxes out credit cards, and then shows up at family dinners crying about how unfair life is. And what does my family do? They rally around her like she's made of porcelain. Me, I got pregnant at 19. Tyler's father took off before the baby was born, leaving me with nothing but empty promises and unpaid bills. I worked my butt off, waitressing at Denny's, delivering packages for FedEx, and doing bookkeeping for a small law firm until I finally landed a steady job as an office manager at Miller Associates. My parents, Linda and Bob, offered minimal help. Occasional babysitting when it didn't interfere with their weekend golf games or book club meetings. But when Dad had his heart attack 5 years ago and got laid off from the steel plant, and Mom's hours at Target got cut to part-time, suddenly they needed me. And I stepped up. Boy, did I step up. I started covering everything: their mortgage on the little ranch house on Maple Street, the electric bill, property taxes, insurance on both the cars, Dad's old Ford F-150 and Mom's Toyota Camry. All of it went on my credit cards, came out of my checking account. I never complained, never asked for thanks. I loved them, and I didn't want them losing their home. The unspoken deal seemed simple: I keep them afloat, they treat Tyler and me like family. Turns out, I was the only one who thought we had a deal. But this Thanksgiving, everything was about to change in ways I never saw coming. Thanksgiving morning, Tyler and I showed up at Mom and Dad's with a honey-glazed ham I'd spent hours preparing. Last year, Jessica had guilted everyone into going vegetarian for the holiday, so we ended up eating tofurkey and pretending it was delicious. This year, I wasn't taking any chances. My kid was going to have real Thanksgiving food. The moment we walked through the front door, I felt it. That thick, uncomfortable tension that makes your skin crawl. Mom barely glanced up from arranging store-bought dinner rolls on a platter. Dad mumbled a hello from his recliner, eyes glued to the Lions game. Then Jessica swept into the kitchen like she was making a grand entrance at the Oscars. "Oh my God," she gasped, hand dramatically pressed to her chest. "I thought you weren't coming." I set the ham down on the counter, confused. "Why wouldn't I come? It's Thanksgiving." Jessica shot a look at Mom, then turned back to me with that whiny voice she's perfected over the years. "I told Mom and Dad I couldn't handle being around you today. Your energy is just too much for me right now." My energy. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, I turned to Mom, expecting her to shut this nonsense down immediately. Instead, Mom put her hand on my arm and said softly, "Sarah, honey, maybe this year just isn't good time. Jessica's been having a really rough few weeks with the breakup and losing her job at the boutique. We just want to keep things peaceful today." My hands started shaking. Tyler stood beside me, holding the pumpkin pie he'd helped me make the night before, looking up at us with those big, trusting eyes. "You're asking me to leave?" The words came out as barely a whisper. Dad walked into the kitchen then, his jaw set in that stubborn way that meant his mind was made up. "It's nothing personal, Sarah. Just let your sister have this one day. You know how sensitive she is." Tyler tugged on my sweater. "Mom, did we do something wrong?" That's when something inside me snapped. But what I did next would shock them all. I couldn't speak. My chest felt like someone was sitting on it, crushing all the air out of my lungs. I looked around the kitchen, at the turkey Jessica hadn't cooked, at the decorations I'd bought last year, at the family photos on the refrigerator that somehow always seemed to feature more pictures of Jessica than Tyler. Without a word, I gently took the pie from Tyler's hands and set it on the counter next to my beautiful ham. "Come on, sweetheart," I said quietly. "Let's go home." Not one of them tried to stop me. Not one. Tyler didn't complain during the silent car ride home. He's gotten used to being treated like a visitor in his own family. We heated up leftover pizza and watched a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving on the couch. He curled up next to me and said, "Mom, I think our Thanksgiving is better anyway." That night, after Tyler went to bed, I sat at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. I pulled up my banking app and stared at the screen, automatic payments scheduled for the next week. Mom and Dad's mortgage, $1,847. Electric bill, $156. Car insurance for both vehicles, $284. For 5 years, I'd been paying their bills without a single thank you. And today, they threw me out like I was nothing. I opened a new document and started typing. First, I called Wells Fargo and scheduled an appointment to discuss the mortgage situation. Then I contacted Commonwealth Edison to remove my credit card from their account. Same with State Farm Insurance. One by one, I methodically removed myself from every single bill, every automatic payment, every financial obligation that kept my parents comfortable. By 2 a.m., I was done. I sent one final text to our family group chat. "Hi everyone. After today's events, I've decided to step back from handling financial responsibilities for Mom and Dad's household. Effective December 1st, they'll need to take over all payments. I'll be transferring all accounts this week. Thanks for understanding, Sarah." Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. I had no idea the storm I was about to unleash. For 3 days, my phone stayed silent. Part of me wondered if they'd even noticed the message. Maybe they thought I was bluffing. Then Mom called. She was sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. "Sarah, what have you done?" "The mortgage company called. They said our payment was declined. The electric company wants us to set up a new account. We don't have this kind of money." I took a deep breath, surprised by how calm I felt. "I'm sorry you're going through this, Mom. But I'm not welcome at family gatherings, so I figured that means I'm not really part of the family anymore. I'm just making sure I don't have the responsibilities of a daughter when I'm not treated like one. We didn't mean it that way." She cried. "You know Jessica's been struggling since Marcus broke up with her, and she lost her job at Nordstrom Rack." "I've been struggling too, Mom," I interrupted. "But nobody ever asked how I was doing. Nobody ever protected me, not even when you watched Jessica treat me like garbage year after year." There was silence on the other end. "I'm done being the backup plan," I said quietly, and hung up. Dad called that evening, trying to sound reasonable but with anger simmering just beneath the surface. "You're punishing us because of your sister." "No, Dad. I'm holding you accountable. You made a choice, and now I'm making mine." What followed was pure chaos. Jessica called screaming, then crying, then screaming again about how I was destroying the family over hurt feelings. I ignored every call. Mom sent Tyler a Christmas card with no money inside, just a passive-aggressive note about how she hoped he wouldn't be too sad without his real family around. But here's the thing, for the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't trying to keep everyone else happy while sacrificing my own peace. I was finally choosing myself and my son. But my parents weren't going down without a fight. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, a certified letter arrived at my apartment. My hands shook as I opened it, and what I found inside made me laugh out loud, then immediately call my lawyer. The letter, written in the most ridiculous pseudo-legal language, claimed that since I had voluntarily assumed financial management of their household, I was now legally obligated to continue. They demanded I resume payments immediately and stated that I had no right to reclaim the Toyota Camry since it was gifted to them. My lawyer, Janet Rodriguez from downtown, nearly fell off her chair laughing when I read it to her over the phone. "Sarah," she said, still chuckling, "they don't have a leg to stand on. You're not married to them, you're not their legal guardian, and you never signed any contract obligating you to pay their bills. As for the car, here's where it gets good. The Camry was registered in my name, insured by me, and I had text messages where Dad explicitly thanked me for letting him borrow it until we get back on our feet. I never gifted anything to anyone. The mortgage situation was even better. When Dad's credit tanked 5 years ago, they couldn't qualify for a refinance. I had to co-sign, and eventually, I became the primary borrower when they still couldn't make payments. My name was on everything. You're not evicting him, Janet explained. You're simply ceasing voluntary financial support. But I'd suggest we move quickly to protect your assets. Within a week, we filed paperwork to assume full control of the property, either to sell it or rent it out. I gave my parents 60 days notice. That's when Jessica went nuclear. She posted a 3-paragraph rant on Facebook about how I was making our elderly parents homeless and tearing apart our family for money. She included old family photos, all those fake smiling faces from holidays past, and claimed I was mentally unstable and obsessed with control. Tyler saw it. He came into my bedroom holding his iPad, eyes wide and hurt. "Mom, why is Aunt Jessica saying mean things about you?" That's when I knew I had to see this through to the end. Christmas came and went quietly. Tyler and I made sugar cookies, watched holiday movies, and played Monopoly until way past his bedtime. It was the most peaceful holiday I'd had in 10 years. By mid-January, Janet got the green light. Since I was the sole person responsible for the mortgage payments and could prove ongoing financial contribution, I could legally reclaim the property or force a sale. I chose to sell. It was time for a clean break. Mom showed up at my apartment 3 days after I sent the final notice. She didn't come to apologize or make peace, she came to guilt me into backing down. "We raised you," she said, her voice sharp despite the tears in her eyes. "We gave you everything, and now you're throwing us out on the street." I stared at her, this woman who birthed me but hadn't protected me in years. "You didn't even let me stay for dinner, Mom." Because Jessica was fragile. She needed. "What about me?" I interrupted. "Did you ever wonder if I was fragile? If Tyler needed his family that day?" Her silence said everything. She tried one last manipulation. "You'll regret this someday. We'll be gone, and you'll wish you could take it all back." I said nothing. I didn't yell, didn't cry. I just closed the door. 6 weeks later, the house was empty. They didn't fight the final notice, probably because they finally realized they had no legal ground to stand on. I sold the house for $245,000. After paying off the remaining mortgage and legal fees, I had $89,000 left. I used part of it to take Tyler on the vacation we dreamed about for years, a week at Disney World, just the two of us. On our last night there, sitting by the hotel pool under the Florida stars, Tyler looked up at me and said, "Mom, this is the best vacation ever. Even better than all those Thanksgivings at Grandma's house." It nearly broke my heart, but in the best possible way. 6 months later, Jessica sent me a text, "I hope you're happy. You destroyed our family for money." I blocked her number without responding. My parents moved in with Mom's sister Patricia in Ohio. From what I heard through my cousin Michelle, it's not going well. Aunt Patricia isn't thrilled about having 2 extra adults in her small house, especially when they can't contribute much financially. They can't believe I actually went through with it. But I did. Because sometimes the only way to break a toxic cycle is to walk away completely. Sometimes love means letting people face the consequences of their choices, even when those people are your parents. Tyler and I moved to a cute 2-bedroom apartment closer to his school. We planted a small garden on our balcony, tomatoes, herbs, and sunflowers that Tyler waters every morning before school. On weekends, we explore our new neighborhood, try new restaurants, and make our own traditions. We host our own Thanksgiving now. Just us, with all the foods we actually like, watching football and playing board games. Sometimes my coworker Maria joins us with her kids. It's loud and messy and perfect. Do I regret it? Not for 1 second. I didn't lose a family that Thanksgiving. I finally let go of the illusion that I ever had one. And in doing so, I discovered what real family actually looks like. It's not who you're born to, it's who shows up for you, who stays, who loves you without conditions. For Tyler and me, that family is us. And honestly, we're pretty amazing. Last week, Tyler asked me if I missed Grandma and Grandpa. I thought about it for a long moment, then told him the truth. I miss the grandparents I wished you had, buddy. But I don't miss being treated badly. He nodded solemnly, then brightened up. Well, I like our family better anyway. We have more fun. As his laughter filled our little apartment, I realized something profound. I hadn't just found my backbone that Thanksgiving. I'd found my freedom, and that, more than any holiday dinner, was worth celebrating.